the main thing is to being very respectful and being open to what has happened in the past in terms of us as speech language pathologists and what our role has been in the past. I think SLPs have over prescribed, over given AAC devices for individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing. And that's just for lack of knowledge for ourselves, just what we've done and how I myself can, show that I am supporting the language while also providing the tool for individuals who can't access ASL. So it's not just for any person that's deaf or any, student or child or client that's deaf. It's for specific individuals with whether they can't access it through fine or gross motor skills or through cognition. So I think it's just learning from the past and being better for the future and being open to that. This is something new.
Hey there, and welcome to the Speechy Side Up podcast. My name is Vanita Litvack, and I am so grateful you're here. I'm an ASHA certified speech language pathologist, author, and augmentative and alternative communication consultant who is obsessed with helping SLPs like you stop reinventing the wheel and connect with other SLPs in the trenches. Have you ever wondered how other SLPs seem to be doing it all with ease? Well, around here, you'll get to hear firsthand how SLPs are really getting things done while keeping evidence-based practice and self-care in mind. Think of this as a coffee date with your SLP friends. Get ready to be challenged and encouraged while we learn together. Today, I'm joined by Quinn Kelly, a bilingual American Sign Language fluent certified speech language pathologist in New York and New Jersey. Currently, Quinn works for the private practice called the Way You Say LLC in Northern New Jersey and is a content expert and AAC consultant for Language First. She primarily services students targeting AAC within expressive and receptive language skills. As a bilingual therapist, Quinn specializes in working with AAC with individuals who are deaf disabled. Quinn has worked with both neurotypical and complex communicators through various bilingual approaches with ASL and AAC. She has co-developed and published an informal assessment for AAC in various resources. Quinn has conducted and presented research about AAC use with deaf and hard of hearing individuals on the national and international level. Quinn currently holds her ASL-PI certificate from Gallaudet University. She currently resides in New Jersey. Quinn, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for today.
We've covered a lot of AAC over the years, and this is our first AAC with deaf and hard of hearing individuals. So I'm very excited to have you. Do you feel like that bio covered everything, or is there anything else you want to talk about before we jump into the topic?
I'm very fortunate that I currently am affiliated with the New Jersey Speech and Hearing Association. I do sit on the AAC committee for the New Jersey Speech and Hearing Association. So I have amazing opportunities to do things at the local, state, and soon national level. So I'm very excited and honored to be able to work with them as well, which has started in the past year, which is really great.
Amazing. That's great. So can you tell us about any research projects that you're currently working on, and who are you doing that with?
Awesome. Yeah, I love that question. I have the amazing opportunity to be able to work with a research group based out of Australia, which, as you can only imagine, being in the States, that's really fun to try and work out those research hours. So we are focusing on the idea of kind of figuring out how ASL and AAC can work together. So putting the language and the assistive technology tool together to support individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing who do kind of fit into the category of that they are candidates for AAC and kind of what that looks like. What does communication look like? Who are different candidates? How do they communicate using both? What are different strategies? And kind of taking different informal things that myself and other professionals kind of gathered over the past couple of years and putting it into a more formal, research-based format and kind of being able to share it. I've had the opportunity to present for the Queensland Department of Education in Australia, and for them, it's Austin Sign Language. For us, it's American Sign Language ASL here. So kind of seeing where those two languages have struggled in terms of, making their statement in terms of education and how they're being appropriately represented in schools. So we are looking to kind of create a more foundational research to support educators or any professional working with deaf and hard of hearing kids, be able to prove that, yes, these things can work together, that ASL is a language, that Austin is a language, that the AAC is a tool to support these kiddos. And we're really excited. We're in the beginning stages now, which of course is always the fun part of research before you get into the nitty gritty math. But it's been a really amazing journey, and the team over there is really wonderful. I'm so excited to be included in being the boots on the ground part for the states, which is really nice.
That's so awesome. How are you navigating the cultural aspects of the community when it comes to recommending AAC?
The main thing is to being very respectful and being open to what has happened in the past in terms of us as speech language pathologists and what our role has been in the past, being open to, the comments, the criticism, to what people have experienced. Unfortunately, I think SLPs have over prescribed, over given AAC devices for individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing. And that's just for lack of knowledge for ourselves, just what we've done and how I myself can, show that I am supporting the language while also providing the tool for individuals who can't access ASL. So it's not just for any person that's deaf or any, student or child or client that's deaf. It's for specific individuals with whether they can't access it through fine or gross motor skills or through cognition. So I think it's just learning from the past and being better for the future and being open to that. This is something new. This is something that we really haven't seen before within our field, and combining the technology and ASL and just being open to and being respectful. And I think just taking different people's perspectives and moving forward in the most polite way. And I think it's just the big main picture for that.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. What other considerations do you run into with the population and AAC? Are you looking at the symbol sets, the Bluetooth, maybe with hearing aids? How does that work?
Yeah. So I think how I kind of categorize it, or how I look at it in a very broad spectrum, is I look at it through three different ways that ASL and AAC can be used together. So we have some kiddos who are, code switching back and forth. They're using ASL, AAC, they're communicating using both. There are some students who are receptively understanding ASL and then expressively using the device, because whether it's fine or gross motor challenges, ataxic CP, or whether there could be, other just fine motor challenges that have, with another diagnosis, or some children who are, just they're using it for how they want to use it. So I think it just kind of is going back and forth and just being open to different ways it can be used. And then also looking at who kind of fits into the candidacy. So I look at it for fine and gross motor control issues, cognition. I also look at it for individuals deaf with disabilities. So, like charge syndrome, there are many different components of charge syndrome, but deafness can be one of them, as well as Usher syndrome. And then there are individuals with a language disorder. So it could be within ASL or AAC. So how much time supports are given that they're still not comprehending how to use a language. So AAC can be used as a visual support. So I think trying to look at it in different components in different ways is really important.
Thank you for sharing that. What do you recommend to an SLP who maybe knows a lot about AAC, but they don't know ASL and they are working with this type of client? What would be your recommendation?
That's a tricky one.
If you say to refer out, that's fine too.
I do say refer out, or I think being open to asking for help. I do, as part of like now the really fun consultant role. So previously I've worked at a school for the deaf for the past 5 years. And now I have the unbelievable opportunity to work for the Way You Say, which is private practice, and then also working with Language First. It's just the being a consultant and working with families more, which has been really great. So I love being able to support families and support professionals. And when I get those emails of what do I do? I don't know sign. I think I love seeing people reach out to others who do know more, because speech, we cover 9 different domains. And there's so much that even I don't know. I'm learning something. Oh my God, I don't know how to do that. And reaching out to somebody else, because sometimes people ask me questions and I have to refer to somebody else. So I think just being open to referring out and open that sometimes we are in uncharted territories, and just I have to learn. I have to hit the books, or I have to find someone on social media that can maybe guide me in a different way or in different things like that. So listening to podcasts. So I think it's just being open to that you may not know something in this topic, and looking for other people.
Okay, that's really helpful. So, what aspect of your job, I guess, which job, maybe both of them, do you enjoy the most and why?
I love both of them for different reasons. The Way You Say has been an absolutely amazing opportunity to work with neurotypical and neurodiverse kids all over New Jersey and some in Rockland County, New York. So I've really enjoyed the private practice aspect and working with different kids. it's just been such a joy to be able to really work with families and to kind of make that connection, especially using AAC and just seeing things click, seeing them work in the home, or sometimes that disconnect where kids are given a device in school and they're like, what is this thing? And we all sometimes do, like, where do I start? Which I really love. And Language First has been with me since day one as becoming a professional working with deaf and hard of hearing kids. And they support any professional working with deaf and hard of hearing kids, from psychologists, teachers, teach of the visually impaired, PTs, OTs. So they're a really wonderful resource in general. And they do support, so many people and families. And so I really enjoy working with them, just being able to have a different outreach in a different area in terms of working with specifically deaf and hard of hearing kids. So I love both of them, and I've presented with Language First before, and I've had lots of research opportunities with them. So I look forward to continuing working with them and having two different experiences.
So is language first primarily for the deaf and hard of hearing population? Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no, they're a phenomenal resource. I mean, one of the things that I do with them is I help make free resources. So this past month, I made a chart for different how like that for individuals who could be candidates for AAC, what that looks with the diagnosis. So it's really fun just being able to kind of be creative and using my background knowledge to support other professionals too. And having those fact sheets, having those different fun activities that you can use, has been really great.
That's great. So what are some of the most common questions you receive from clients or colleagues, and how do you address them?
I feel like the most common is, who's a candidate? Oh, I have a kiddo. They'll give me a bio or synopsis. And they're like, what, could they be a candidate for AAC? And I feel like that's always a loaded question. And then another one I think is, how do you use ASL and AAC together? Because again, I feel like that's something as an SLP, unless you've had that hands-on experience, unless you've seen it, like how do you use it? Especially when we're making goals, we're trying to follow certain rules or certain things that are going on in a school environment. Now we have to rework them. How can we kind of be open to two different systems or going outside the lines? So I feel like those are the two common questions that I get. And I love being able to answer them and just being able to provide resources for people, because I think once you have that experience, you talk to other people, or even just getting people on a phone call and just being able to kind of talk it out, work out their questions. And sometimes, like, well, this is what I thought, or this is what I've seen. And just being able to collaborate with people and never being like, what you're doing is wrong, is being like, this is my experience, what's yours? How can we now make this to support your student or client or this person? So I think it's been really awesome just seeing these questions and being able to answer them.
Oh, I love that. So how would you answer like putting AAC and ASL together? I think that's what you said.
So I love doing lots of language sandwiching and language training techniques. So one of my favorite examples is with language training is, so the sign for on is, you're going to take the top part of your one hand, your palm, and put it on the other, like they're putting it on.
Mhm.
And so, but in ASL, the sign can change based on context. So if I'm turning the light on, I'm turning the shower on, I'm putting something on a desk, on a table. The classifiers and the visual aspect of the language is going to change the way the sign looks. So I have to explicitly teach all of these exposures and how the word can appear. So I think that also can be very daunting. And as a professional, you don't always think that. You're like, oh, on is honestly a very simple word. It's a core word that we're going to pick. It's easy. We're turning the lights on and off. It's great. You're like, oh no, it's a different component when the language has different visual meanings and the sign changes completely. So kind of thinking about it like that. So I like to kind of say that when you are trying to have ASL and AC work together, choosing the right targets to start with based on your communicator, I think is really important. Also sandwiching. So whether I'm modeling, signing, and then modeling things, or vice versa, in order to give that compact exposure. And I think modeling without expectation is one of my favorites. I think it's just, well, such a beautiful thing for some of the kids, just being able, like, I'm not putting any pressure on you to use this. I want you to use this and how you want to and how you need to use it, and being able to have that communication autonomy and choose if you want to use the language or the tool, I think is really great. And then kind of just going back to, there's so many things. I just love this topic so much, to be honest. But in how they can be working together, like, as things for the professional can be hard, because if you have goals written, so it's like, I've seen people like, well, I have a 3 icon utterance, and then they chose to sign it. That's where I go back to modeling without expectation. Because I think if we force it, we're like, well, I have to follow this goal. Or now we're not allowing them the choice to choose how they want to do it. And then some kids kind of will like go back to it. Like, now we're taking away that language aspect for them. So I like to be able to, they can do either or. So if I sign something, they respond with their device, but I wanted them to sign something back, I accept it. So I think as the professional, kind of being more flexible with my goal writing has been definitely a learning curve for me because it was okay, like, what do I do now? But it's been wonderful to see the kids thrive in the way they need to thrive and the way they want to thrive with the tool and the language.
Mhm. Are you also so you're modeling in ASL, you're modeling on the AAC system. Are you modeling through speech as well?
So for if kids have access, I do. I've had a couple kids who, are bilingual and also bimodal. So it's been really awesome to kind of have that experience. So again, going back to that, just doing a lot of direct teaching. So we're going to say it, we're going to sign it, we're going to model it. I'm going to show you a picture of it. We're going to go through every different type of exposure. So I've had some students who do have access, whether through, hearing aids or cochlear implants, and at home, another language is spoken. So having them, have that understanding, I think is just really wonderful to be able to see how all of them can work together. Because some of them do, like they hear mom say, sit, and they understand the word sit. Now they have to like, okay, the English, the Spanish, or another language at home, and the signs and putting it all together is really, really great. But I do see that a lot. And it's really fun to kind of like put everything together like a big puzzle and watch them make those connections and then communicate and understand. And it's really fun.
I love that. I love how specialized you are. And it points to how important it is to match a child who is deaf and hard of hearing, who also needs AAC with a specialist like you, because there are so many little complexities where you're so skilled in that area that it's almost like second nature. I do that with gestalt language processing in AAC. So I kind of see how you're incorporating all that, or like assistive technology in AAC. If we have someone with motoric challenges, figuring out what the best access method is going to be, but like having that deeper knowledge of those areas. So not to shy anybody away from working with this population, but like you said, just really encouraging them to learn more if they don't already.
Definitely. I think there's so much to learn, and there's so much awesome just in this little niche of a world, because it's, we're SLPs, and then we're an SLP that works with deaf and hard of hearing kids, but deaf and hard of hearing kids that also signs fluently, but then also has the knowledge of AAC that can also put ASL and AAC together. It just, the pool gets smaller and smaller, and it's, even for me, there's times where I've hit a roadblock. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I think just being able to have that pool of professionals, just being able to reach out to different people, or just again being open to like that I may not know something, and how can I find somebody who has knowledge in this, and I can kind of take a pieces of it and then being able to use it for my kiddos has been a really great challenge too. So
What do you say to somebody that says, why even model ASL if like, their teachers and their community members don't use ASL, why not just use AAC?
I think it kind of goes back to, communication autonomy, and there's a concept called linguicism. So the concept that no language is more important than another, and no concept is more important than another. So I have many students who are on the spectrum who I've worked with in the past who receptively benefit from having ASL for instruction, for understanding, for that visual component that the language provides. So even though, yes, they're expressively using AAC all day long, receptively, they benefit more from ASL and having, a foundational language. Again, AAC is a tool. It's not a language itself. So
Mhm.
for all communicators who have the natural access to use their hearing and to use and have access to spoken language, so should a deaf child be able to have access to an L1, language that is visual, that supports their needs and their communication. So I think that's very important to kind of think of, like, just because um, it's not something that we've always done. It's something that we should do, and be equal, and be like, you have access to a spoken language, you have access to a visual language. Just because other professionals may not be using it around you, you still should have access, because the device can break.
Mhm.
Happens all the time. The device is dead. There should always be something that's there, and then having the visual language, the L1 of ASL, support and be the foundation for the device. I have a lot of icons sometimes that are sign symbols, or signs, or that are changed from symbols, and just how, there's sign names on there, or I will have sign videos on there for gestalts. So like some of my communicators that will use sign phrases in their device and things like that. So it's a really wonderful to see all that work together. But again, that communication autonomy, the concept of linguicism, very important for me.
No, it is important. I'm glad you addressed it. And you mentioning how I think it's Symbol Sticks has the sign symbol,
Mhm.
but I wasn't aware that like on, for instance, can be signed in different ways. So that's not even a great solution because the symbol's going to be in only one sign. I had recommended that for some of my clients who needed AAC and deaf and hard of hearing, but when you know better, you do better. So going forward, I have a lot of strategies now that you're recommending and referrals and things to learn in order to help. Actually, there's a funny story in my one of my first clinicals in grad school. I was in an AAC cohort, and my very first client was using touch chat. And the instructor was like, "Oh, and she also uses ASL." And I was like, "Oh, well, I don't know ASL." And she's like, "Well, you need to learn by your next session." I was like, okay. So I think I memorized 30 signs prior to that session, but I was like, is this realistic? I'm really having to learn another language before my next session. But the things they tell you to do in grad school or adapt to sometimes are a little extreme.
Oh, definitely. I go back and I'm like, wow, I really did that. Yeah,
Right.
sometimes when I'm in a school environment, I have to do a soap note by the end of the day, and I'm like, oh God.
I know.
Oh,
I know. Someone posted a reel the other day that was like, this job posting sounds horrible. They're supposed to work from 8 to 9 and they have 5 evaluations a week. And I shared it with my friend because I was like, remember that private practice that we worked in like our second year of being SLP? She's like, yep, that was a normal day there. And it's just amazing, like some of the things. I know I'm getting sidetracked a little
oh
bit,
my God,
but
no, but it just my heart is
Right. Yeah. Yes, that was my heart during that experience, and now I know better. So, hopefully anybody that's listening to this, if you are going through that right now, try to get out of there because that is not the norm.
definitely not.
So, you talked a little bit about the research projects that you're doing. What other upcoming projects or developments are you most excited about in the field?
I'm really excited to explore private practice more and again, just being able to collaborate with families more. I think that's such a wonderful opportunity that you don't always have in schools. Have loved always being on a team, on a big team, working at a school for the deaf. I was constantly collaborating with people every day, all day. I mean, I didn't take a step without collaborating with, a TBI, a TOD, an O&M. It was always somebody who I was collaborating with, which was great. But I think now being able to use my gut instincts that I've grown and being able to apply things that I've learned and kind of use it with families and supporting them, I think is going to be a really exciting and new slash scary journey. I've also had the wonderful opportunity to create some resources for the New Jersey Speech and Hearing Association that are actually going to be going live in September. So I'm really excited. I'm going to be doing a webinar for them and talking about them more. So it's been a year in progress. So we're going to be collaborating with AAA, which is an audiology association, and just being able to have that collaborate, the interdisciplinary collaboration with them and kind of get this going will be really fun. And it's going to be supporting AAC users during audiological assessments. So there's a range of different stuff that's going to happen there. And then just more research stuff that's going to be coming down the pipe for me. So it's going to be a really crazy year. I'm really, really excited to try all these new things and kind of, just explore what this amazing field has to offer and just keep supporting other people and just being there and wanting to be open to learning and to I think I come across new things every day and just being like, I'm still learning. This field is there's never a day where you're not coming across something new or there's something that kind of makes you question like how could I be doing this better? And just being open to that, I think is such a wonderful thing that I'm gonna be coming across. So I'm excited.
That's amazing. Well, I'm excited to follow along on your journey. If people want to connect with you, where can they find you?
I have an Instagram account called Assigning SLP, which is on Instagram. I do answer messages or, I do make posts weekly. So it's just fun, fast facts about AAC and ASL and different resources and things like that that I make. So, feel free to reach out or anything like that. And all the resources that I make are free. So there's nothing that's going to cost you money or anything like that, which I feel like everyone loves a free resource. I mean, we're not going to lie and say we don't go to TPT and click free the first and we're like, what can I learn for free? So
That's right. That's so true. Well, that sounds amazing. I'm going to double check that I'm following you because I feel like I could learn so much. Thank you for this today, and hopefully we'll get to collaborate again.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening. By the way, have you joined the SSU crew yet? By joining, you get access to the free good section on our website, plus podcast updates, special event notifications, and therapy inspiration. You can sign up at bit.ly/join SSU crew, all lowercase, or just find the link in this episode description. Also, don't forget to take a screenshot of this episode so that you can always refer back to it and share it on social media if you really love the topic. Take care and remember to always fill your speechy side cup first before you can pour into others.